Broncos Rabbitohs is a very exciting game because both are last start losers. Neither of them got the chocolates in Vegas. Neither of them want to go 0-2 to start the season. It's not a death knell, but it's obviously not ideal, especially for the Rabbitohs, who didn't make the finals last year and were top of the comp after 11 rounds, and the Broncos, who, they obviously need to get back on up and going after the grand final.
Some footage.
Heartbreak. Yeah, footage here.
Look at that, Buzz.
Oh, how professional are we?
Yeah.
Wow. How good's that?
What I want to bring up first is the backdrop to this game, and it involves two of the stars. Obviously, Ezra Mam has been dealing with a lot on the back of the racism saga with Spencer Leniu, and Latrell Mitchell, who came out and stood up for Ezra and said he was basically the first one on social media to go and say the NRL better do something about this. And also Latrell took offence to Anthony Mundine's comments that Samoan non-Indigenous Australian slurs were not racist, and so Latrell's come out and had a crack, and again, well, not a crack, he's come out and defended Ezra and said he was offended. This was offensive. It was a racial slur. Our people don't need this. Latrell takes on a lot outside of just playing footy, doesn't he? And I'm not saying that in the bad thing. He's and you talk about Chock saying he needs to earn his voice. Him facing this game and also making it a point of his idea of trying to stamp out racism as well, more than earned his voice in rugby league for this, for mine.
Latrell? Yeah, I applaud him for... There's no one in rugby league currently as passionate as he is about Indigenous affairs, and it doesn't matter what, and I've spoken to Chock Mundine since, it doesn't matter what colour your skin is. If you call an Indigenous person a monkey, it's racist.
Or if you've played one game or 100 NRL games, you're allowed to call this stuff out.
Yeah,
or no games.
Latrell,
you don't have to play
Latrell
footy.
is a leader. He's the game's leader.
Yeah.
Him and Nico Hines, and they're both entitled to their opinions.
Yeah.
But this is a fascinating game, obviously. We've even forgotten the build-up's so big that it's Reynolds against South.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
And I didn't think... Did he get a Dally M point in...
We got a question about that. We do have a question about daily endpoints.
Well, we'll get to that later. But just fascinating stuff, Mitchell versus Walsh.
Yeah.
Lockie Ilias, the young fella.
One of the sides will be 0-2.
And Cody Walker's on Mam, and Cody needed the run in Vegas.
Yep, definitely. And as Dean Ritchie had in his report in Thursday's papers, that
Ezra's D.
Yeah, missed 100 tackles last year and 8 in round 1. Jason Demetrio came out and basically said that, Ezra comes out at the line to try and put a bit of a shot on to, fire up his team, provide a bit of motivation. Sometimes he bounces off, so that can account for a lot. But there's going to be a fair bit of traffic going down his way, you'd imagine. Although Jai Arrow's a big loss for them. I'm interested to see how Tallis Duncan goes on the edge there, but to see how they can try and offset that loss. But bit for Ezra to worry about in defence, I think, this season.
No doubt. He's a small half and traffic's going to come his way. I don't think it's groundbreaking. The South's edge is going to be interesting because they're not at full strength on either side of the field. Obviously, Jai Arrow was parachuted on an edge. They don't have Campbell Graham. So there's some...
Tallis Duncan can run the footy.
They got bigger ups on him. It'll be interesting to see if he does play on the edge or they swap Cam Murray around, what they sort of play with there. But Tallis Duncan looks like Cam Murray, like in terms of when their style of play on the field. But it's a big test for that South Sydney forward pack up against Brisbane's.
Super game, Mobbsy.
Yeah. I can't go past the Broncos at home on this one because I think I saw a little more out of the Bronx in round 1. I just think the Rabbits are missing too many troops at the moment as well. I think they're missing a bit of firepower, and that's going to trouble them. Although I think Latrell will carry them a long way, and if Cody Walker obviously carried an injury or managed an injury into that round 1 game, so it seems like he got through that game, but he wasn't at 100% in that game by any stretch. So need to see more from those guys to lead what is a bit of an inexperienced, well, not inexperienced, not as classy a back line as they've had it in the past with Campbell Graham out, Jack White yet to make his debut for the club.
2 representative centres not in the So
it's a lot. I reckon it's nearly $3 million of their cap out. You know,
a lot out, and 0-2 potentially. Well, they play the Roosters next week.
Yeah,
it's a tough start to the year for South Sydney.
Where's the Roosters going? Acor, or I wonder. But anyway,
where are we? I'll have a little look while you.
I'd like to go back to Arlance. I love that new stadium when South Sydney's play, Michael. The drill there. Well, what are we going to talk about while you're having a look?
You take over, Buzz. It's your podcast.
There's a whole run sheet there if you want to.
It's your podcast.
I know you're very off the cuff.
I was just wondering.
Do you want to start at the top, Buzz?
That one's at Allianz, Buzzy, next Friday.
Yeah. Well, you've got... Oh, thank you.
And then again, if Souths get the chocolates, next week, the Broncos have to travel to Penrith.
Yeah, so one of those sides could genuinely be 0-3.
There's the big concern.
Yes.
Genuinely 0-3.
Good investigative journalism, Adam.
Well, as a supporter of a team who went 0-3 last year and couldn't recover,
tough to come back.
It's tough to come back.
It's tough to come back to be a top 4 finisher if you lose your first 3. You can make the A.
Yeah, you make the A. You're just chasing your tail.